Hello everyone, welcome back to another video where today we're going to be talking a little bit about confirmation of a Children in Need minisode for the 17th, as well as the recently released documentary starring David Tennant talking about the classic series, as well as a brand new Shooty Gatwa costume and a bit of a Torchwood false alarm. But before we get into any of that, if you could do me a teeny tiny little favour and click that subscribe button, it'd be very much appreciated. We're trying to get to 23,000 subscribers before the 60th anniversary airs. No idea if we can do it, but we've been smashing it at the moment, and I got to say thank you all so much. It's been insane. But let's just get right into it. So yeah, last night saw the release of Talking Doctor Who, starring David Tennant. It's him talking about the classic series. It's an hour long. I watched it. It was really good, and also interesting because this aired on BBC4, and this also had the Whoniverse ident that we've all seen, indicating that it will play in front of BBC programming beyond just BBC iPlayer. This really seems to be the cohesive sort of brand that they're going for, and I quite like it. I quite enjoy it. But yeah, the program itself was absolutely wonderful. Particular standouts for me was him talking about Peter Davison's time on the show, and him just kind of smiling and laughing at how young Peter Davison is as his son-in-law. Really, really fun stuff. And also comparing his regeneration in Power of the Doctor to the Logopolis regeneration of Tom Baker to Peter Davison. Really some interesting stuff. On top of that though, we also got the video release of the Doat60 musical concert celebration. This is 88 minutes long, and yeah, it's basically the video version of the concert that has previously been released on radio. Bizarrely though, I've heard that there's been some songs cut out. For example, I think Doomsday was one of them, as well as a couple of others, which seems bizarre. I'm not really sure what the issue there would be, given that, especially Murray Old is back, there shouldn't really be any issue with playing the whole concert. Not really sure why that is. Perhaps it was just a fault, I'm not sure, but that is also on the BBC iPlayer Whoniverse category as well. So yeah, it's already starting to fill out, and as you'll hear later on in this video, we'll have even more stuff coming up on here very soon. Specifically, BBC have released their Children in Need preview for this year, and you'll see here a special one-off Doctor Who scene starring the 14th Doctor David Tennant. Fans can also catch a glimpse behind the scenes of making this scene in an exclusive episode of Doctor Who Unleashed, which will be available on iPlayer. So yeah, we're getting a mini-sode in the vein of something like Born Again, which I think a lot of us speculated would probably happen. The interesting thing will be, will they reveal the TARDIS? Because that seems to be a quite natural place to have something like a mini-sode be set. That tends to be where they are set for Children in Need. It's really cool that we're actually getting a mini-sode again for the first time in, I want to say, a good few years. Last year we had the reveal of Millie Gibson. Can't remember what's happened in years past. I think there's been less and less in the way of Doctor Who sketches over the years, so it's nice to see them make a proper return. And also the early launch of Doctor Who Unleashed, which will be telling us how this short came to be, which is very exciting as well. They're really going all out with Doctor Who content this year, and I'm so happy about it. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think they're going to do for this Children in Need sketch. Hopefully it'll be something, you know, very in character. Obviously it probably won't be too plot relevant, but just something of him exploring himself as the 14th Doctor again, I think would be really fun. Speaking of Doctor Who Unleashed though, it's been confirmed that, obviously following episode 1, The Star Beast, we'll be getting Doctor Who Unleashed immediately afterwards on BBC Three, and then afterwards on iPlayer. We've all expected this for a while, but it's nice to have this confirmed on the schedules, although times have not yet been released, although I'd assume as soon as we know the time for the episodes, the Doctor Unleashed episodes will be immediately after on BBC Three. Now this is interesting. SFX coverage has been making the rounds online recently, and there's been a new quote from RTD, which I've actually read, where he said that he got asked to showrun a British Marvel show, but he said, "We can't tell you what it is. To this day, I watched them and I can't work out which show that was going to be." Obviously, planning to make a British Marvel show that I haven't seen. Has that happened? So yeah, Russell was approached to do a British Marvel show. What that means, I'm not sure, as in like a proper Disney Plus show. I'm trying to think what that would actually realistically be. If any of you have any suggestions, leave them down in the comments below. Maybe something Captain Britain related. I honestly don't know what you would do. But I'm kind of glad it didn't happen, and I'm glad we've got him back in charge of Doctor Who. But I think that just shows how in demand RTD is, that he was approached to do a Marvel property, which, let's face it, probably earns him a lot more money, but he wants to do Doctor Who, and I think that's made me love him all the more. David Tennant also had something to say on Shooty Gatwa's Doctor. Again, for SFX, Tennant said, "I managed to admire from afar a little bit of Shooty. I've been sniffing around the studios today, and I may have crept on the set at one point. God, he's good casting. It's very exciting to think about what's going to happen to the show when he takes over. So yeah, this was really nice. I love the image of David visiting Ncuti on the set, just to kind of show his approval. I think that's lovely. I think that's really nice. And yeah, I'm incredibly excited for Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor. And I mean, you've got David's approval, and David is, very well versed in playing the Doctor. So that's really nice. On the topic of things coming to iPlayer though, RTD confirmed via Instagram that Adventure in Space and Time is coming to iPlayer. Someone asked, only one thing is missing in Adventure in Space and Time. Russell T Davies responded, it's coming. So yeah, we will be getting an Adventure in Space and Time on iPlayer as well. What a time to be a Doctor Who fan. It's absolutely incredible. And I must say, I love Adventure in Space and Time. It was one of my favourite aspects of the 50th. And I'd honestly like to see a sequel to it one day, although I'm not sure what you would do, because I don't think there's anyone who could really fill, previous Doctor roles in the same way that they had David Bradley fill William Hartnell's. So I'd be interested to see what they did. I think choices for me would probably be like a Tom Baker one. I think that would be really interesting. Or maybe one following the cancellation, or just before the cancellation in the 80s. I think that would also be quite interesting. But who knows if that'll ever happen. Either way, we are getting tons of content this year, just like the 50th. I'm really enjoying it. Predictably, Ncuti Gatwa's got another costume. This scene was filmed, I think, last night. As you can see, it's a purplish navy suit. I really like this. This one's really swish. I dig it a lot. Again, Ncuti is coming out with all these different unique looks. I just hope we get more figures for Ncuti that we have with previous Doctors, because he's got so many variants. I want all of them. But yeah, it's nice seeing a new costume for Ncuti, as always. The scene apparently involved him and an unidentified actress admiring fireworks, which is interesting. I know some people were speculating, maybe New Year's special. I don't think that's the case, but interesting nonetheless. Russell T Davies promises bigger plans for Tales of the TARDIS. On the contrary, Davies hinted that Tales of the TARDIS may actually prove integral to his wider vision of Doctor Who. There are bigger plans behind this that we can't yet talk about, he said. Eventually, Tales of the TARDIS will begin to make more sense. As the series next year unfolds, you will see. But it's a really lovely thing to do for the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. So yeah, there's been a few theories about this. The main one that I'm seeing here on my Twitter timeline is the idea that there's a line from Sylvester talking about how in some timelines, the Doctor grows old in that one incarnation and stays like that until they die, and then in others they go on and change, as we all know. So perhaps that could maybe be a link to the 60th. Say, for example, if rumours are to be believed, Tennant does stick around post the 60th, which is a rumour that's going around. Maybe it'll be an indication that this timeline will just have David Tennant growing old and dying, I guess, much in the same way they did with the Meta Crisis. I quite like the idea that in some timelines the Doctors grow old. I think that's quite sweet, and they can continue to have adventures long after their TV eras have ended, but obviously the main timeline still has them regenerate. I think that's nice. I think it's sweet. We got an interview with Lenny for BBC about the Children in Need stuff, and he mentioned his time on Doctor Who, and it's a really, really sweet interview. He basically talks about how he can't really say much about his character, but he's playing a character called Morris, and he said he'd love to do conventions and see people going around on swagways, and he think he'd have a really good time. And he also said, a lot of the things I've heard, they're not quite true, but I don't want to spoil anyone's fun. It's really nice. It's really sweet. He seems like a really good guy. I look forward to seeing what he brings to Doctor Who. He's just so full of energy and fun. I can't help but smile whenever he's on screen. And then finally, I wanted to talk about this because there was some speculation surrounding a Torchwood return of some form, because people were seeing the PKE lighting trucks outside the water fountain by the Millennium Centre, which, as you know, is the home of Torchwood. And everyone kind of went mad thinking, oh my god, Torchwood, maybe Eve Miles. But it has been confirmed that it was filming for a new Martin Clean series, not Torchwood. So, false alarm on that front. But that about wraps up my video for today. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to give it a like, comment down below your thoughts, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you later.